What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time, I know, but as you can tell by the title, I did end up getting into dental school and I got into the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. So I want to do like a series of different videos on how I got into dental school. So for this video, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet, talk about my GPA, my DAT, the volunteering I did, the shadowing I did, extracurriculars, and then I'm going to read you some of my application. So the application opens up online on May 15th, or at least it did for my class. It's somewhere in the middle of May, but you can't actually submit your application to dental schools until June 1st. So that gives you about 2 weeks to fill out the application. Try to get it done within those 2 weeks. So the minute that the schools open up on June 1st, you can send your application in and be one of the first students that the schools see. I think I had it turned in by June 6th or 7th. So let's just start with GPA and DAT because I know that's what you're all here for. So right now I've completed 120 credits and I have a 3.86 GPA, but when I applied last spring or last May, I applied with a 3.81 GPA and I had completed 105 credits. So my GPA has gone up since I applied, but I was accepted with a 3.81. So moving on to the DAT, I ended up scoring a 19 academic average. Okay, so I got a 19 academic average, and then I'm going to break it down into the different sections of the DAT. So for perceptual ability, I made an 18. Quantitative reasoning, I made an 18. Reading comprehension, I made a 21. Biology, I made an 18. General chemistry, I made a 19. Organic chemistry, I made a 17. And then the total science, I made an 18, so that's not including the perceptual ability or the reading. So for total science, I had an average of 18, but all those numbers together ended up averaging to a 19 academic average. And I took the test on August 2nd, 2021. I think I would have gotten an interview quicker if I had already taken the DAT when I submitted my application, but I hadn't. So I submitted my application first week of June or so, and then I didn't take the DAT until the first week of August. It took about 2 weeks for my real score to come in. Your raw score, which can be changed, I'm not sure how it can be changed, but it can be. You get that raw score as soon as you finish taking the test that day, but the official score does not come in for about 2 weeks. So I don't think that the schools that I applied for ended up getting my real DAT score until the middle or the end of August. I ended up getting an invitation to interview at University of Tennessee at the end of September, and they gave me a 4-day heads up. So they emailed me on a Thursday saying, "We'd love to interview you. Your interview is scheduled on Zoom for Monday, September 27th, I believe." So I was scrambling. I was like trying to find an outfit and prepare what I was going to say. But the interview went great. It was actually really relaxed. I feel like I was way more nervous than I should have been. I really enjoyed the people that interviewed me. That went well. Okay, so there's 2 different sections. There's experiences and then there's like awards / accomplishments. So I'm going to start with experiences. So the first experience that I put in was being a part of the Honors College at my university. I just kind of talked about how the Honors College is different from the rest of the college and what I've gained from the experience of being in the Honors College. The second experience I talked about was working for an oral surgeon. I worked for an oral surgeon all summer of 2019, and I'm currently working there again right now. This still counted as dental experience and sort of like shadowing. There's an option for you to select if you were compensated for your time doing that, so I clicked yes because I was being paid. So I had about 80 hours doing that. Then I have 2 different extracurricular activities that I talked about. So both are the pre-dental society at my college. For my junior year, I talked about how I was the public relations person. And then for my senior year, I talked about how I'm the president for that club. So I highly recommend getting involved in the pre-dental society that's at your university. And if you can, become an officer for it, whether that's a treasurer or vice president, president, any options that they have, try to become one of those because it really does look good on your application. Okay, so now let's move into the volunteering. So the first thing I put was that I was an honors college ambassador for my school. The second volunteering experience I put on here was being a note taker for disabled students at my school. So my university has a program through the Disability Resource Center where somebody can take notes for another student in their class if they're not able to focus very well or if they can't physically take the notes themselves. So I took notes for a class for an entire semester for a disabled student in my class, and that gave me 48 hours. The next volunteer experience I talked about was visiting with hospice patients and their family members, and there's an option in your application to put a star next to your most valuable experiences, and that was one of them. And I'll read you what I wrote for this one because this is a good one. So I wrote, visiting with patients and their family members in hospice care was a unique experience that made me realize just how valuable it is to put a smile on someone's face. I spent time with people battling dementia, aggressive cancer, and other terminal illnesses. The patients and I would talk, play games, sit outside, or watch television together. These visits deepened my understanding of how to empathize with people and my passion for healthcare. You have to write very short, little explanations of your experience, so that's what I wrote for that one. And then I also had some volunteer hours with a homeless shelter in my area. So I had a total of 74 volunteering hours. And then as far as shadowing goes, I know it's really difficult during these times, so I think there are some virtual shadowing options. I'll try to link some stuff down below that I've seen, but make sure that the school you're applying to accepts those type of virtual shadowing hours. But I had always heard that it's good to have a lot of shadowing hours with a general dentist and then try to get hours with lots of different specialties. So I shadowed general dentist, oral surgeon, orthodontist, prosthodontist, pediatric dentist. So I had just about 50 shadowing hours, but on top of that I had 80 from working for an oral surgeon, so I don't know if they kind of count those together or not, but for shadowing hours that were not compensated, I had about 50 of those. And then there's a part to talk about any jobs that you've had. So I included obviously working for the oral surgeons, and then I did a kind of a social media campaign for my university for the health promotions program. I included YouTube as part of my employment. I included One Up Nutrition as part of my employment because I worked for them for about 2 years. And I was going to add some of my jobs from high school, which I believe you can, but I never ended up doing it. But those were like hostess, dishwasher, busser at different restaurants. And then there's a part to add if you have any extra licenses. So I included my personal training license, and then along with the personal training license, I have like a CPR AED certification. Any type of certifications or licenses you have, add them in there because it does make you stand out. They did end up asking me questions about being a personal trainer in my interview, so I was able to talk about that, and that's something that made me stand out from the rest of the students that were applying and interviewing. Okay, last thing I'm going to talk about is the part under achievements. So under achievements you can put scholarships, awards. So I put 2 scholarships, the president's list 3 different times and the dean's list 2 different times. Okay, so I think that's all that I wanted to talk about today, but I'm going to do a couple more videos after this one. I want to make a whole video dedicated to writing your personal statement, so I'm going to talk about how I wrote mine, and I'm going to read you my personal statement probably in the next video. And then I'm also going to make a video about how I studied for the DAT. I did use DAT boot camp. But that is all I have for today's video. Thank you guys for all your support and love when I announced that I got into dental school on Instagram. I'm so excited, and I hope that I'm going to find the time to, do some vlogs in dental school so y'all can keep up with what I'm doing. But thank you for clicking on this video. Make sure to subscribe so you can see my future videos about my personal statement, DAT, and whatever else you guys want me to talk about, put it down in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.